and welcome to Rational Romantics episode 8. It is Pollen week, guys, so we're going to dive in to such an amazing couple that this fandom absolutely adores. We're going to answer some of your fan questions, and we are going to discuss all of the incredible updates, leaks, predictions from filming for Bridgerton season 4 that we got this week because honestly, it was a lot. So let's dive in.
It was so much, and I literally whiplash all week. I was like, yes, no, okay, and more no and more yeah. It was just everywhere, everything all at once. But yeah, there's a lot to unpack, and I don't know if I'm ready, but I'm gonna say I'm ready to dive into it. So let's go.
Well, and I feel like one of my favorite things about it was so exemplified in when we saw the wisteria, that the wisteria is up at Bridgerton House. So Bridgerton is filming right now at Ranger House, that is Bridgerton House, and they've been filming since the 25th, and they're filming to April 9th. And so we've been seeing some things, some setup, okay, and then we saw Wisteria, and we melted down. But I feel like we melted down in completely different ways. Like, I went deep breathing, and you went, I'm on cloud nine, nothing's ever gonna bring me down. And it just cracked me up that we were so different.
It was so funny. And I've been waiting to use that trending audio of the la-di-da, just everything is so happy in my head. And I was like, this is it. Whenever Wisteria is hung on Ranger House, life feels like it makes sense again. And then you're over there doing deep breathing exercises. I'm like, yeah, it makes sense. It makes sense. But I'm just glad that we got that look because everything is very well hidden otherwise. They are locked down and they're ready to go.
Yeah, and it felt like, at least at that moment, I was like, oh, this is the thing we're gonna get. But again, I always like to expect less. That's always my thing. But I was like, okay, Wisteria, this is a great look. We know that it's them. This is lovely. Okay. And then came the whiplash. Within 24 hours, we got this just wild picture of black fabric draping all along the fence line of Bridgerton House. And there went the good mood. I mean, not really. It was still exciting, but
we're still happy about it. But yeah, the little fairy dancing in my head went really south really fast. And you were on it a lot quicker than I was. So you had already done all the research and deep diving. Is this a thing that could have been common at the time to have kind of this drapery? So tell us what you found out about that.
Yeah, so I did a little bit of Googling on Regency, Victorian era funeral and mourning traditions. And they definitely did decorate their houses with black to indicate that someone had died. A lot of times it was a mourning wreath on the door, but sometimes they do ribbons and other drapings to indicate that, as well as closing all the drapes and all the things, and everybody wears black and, the traditional, what you'd expect for a funeral. But that is definitely something that they could be borrowing from real history to indicate that someone closely related to that household has died.
So great news. Great news. I mean, we were kind of expecting it. We've been speculating that we are going to experience a really big loss, and I just wasn't ready to see black in Bridgerton. It's just always so florals, light, airy, and sure, there's gonna be some darker themes in this season, but to literally see black with Bridgerton House is sad. It's sad, and just I feel like a really big confirmation that that's kind of where the story is heading towards the end of the season.
Yeah, for sure. Well, and I think that you're speaking to something really real there with the way that Bridgerton House is so bright and shiny and beautiful and this gorgeous wisteria. And, like even the shot that we got of it, the sun was shining on it as it was setting. It was just all beautiful. And then there's just this stark black, which feels really thematically relevant because obviously if this is for John, which it sure as shoot seems like it almost has to be, then that idea of like him being stolen from the prime of life when all of a sudden it's like everything should be beautiful and in bloom around him and he's just gone is devastating. It's devastating.
So devastating. And yeah, you make a good point with like the sun setting. It literally felt like so symbolic to like the end of something beautiful and just so there was just such like poetic twists in that picture that I was like, oh, I feel it. I feel it. So, yeah, sad, but I mean, to be expected.
Yeah. And to that point too, where I know that lots of people have discussed, and to be fair with all of these things, like maybe it's literally something else. Maybe it's not even morning draping. Like, sure, like things could be like for sure. We're not guaranteed on any of this,
Right.
but it sure seems like it. It's in this last block that seems like when we would most likely lose John, and I feel like also because it's Bridgerton House, if that is mourning fabric, it's for no one else. Like it can't be for Marina. The house is not going into mourning for Marina. I don't think it would be for George because obviously we know we're going to lose John at some point, so they can't like use all of they can't go big for a George funeral because they're going to have to do that for John's funeral. And so to show that level of depth, it can only be John. So I feel like if it's mourning cloth, it's John who it's for.
Yeah, it has to be. And yeah, there was like a part of me, and even still to this day, there's a part of me that's like, what if it's just like staging or like production, to like hide for something. But it just seems to be really like well draped and I mean strategically placed for like decor as opposed to like utilitarian. So I feel like, yeah, I think everybody's kind of on the same page with this one, but it's interesting though because like today actually we got a picture outside of Bridgerton House again and we saw a little vehicle that at first honestly I was like, "Oh my gosh, it's to carry the casket." At first I was so like, "Here we go. Here we go." But I think it's pretty clear that it is something else.
Yeah. So we got a glimpse of what can only, I mean, it has to be like this cell on wheels, this wagon that comes to pick people up to take them to jail, which is specifically relevant for an offer from a gentleman. So,
It
gotta be
sure
that.
is very specific. Take them away. Oh my God. But yeah, it's
Yeah.
just appearing today. Also not on my bingo card for today. But sure, yeah. Jail scene. She's coming up. She's in block 4. And shit's about to go down.
Exactly. That's gonna be a fun scene to discuss when we break down the book, the
Oh
jail
my
scene.
gosh. Yeah. Because, like, I still can't believe the jail scene in the book. Like,
It's
it
wild.
was so out of context, and I was like, what are we doing here? I was like, we're in jail? Another reason that, season 4 is just going to be so different than what we expect.
Yeah, it has very much its own vibe, but it's not going to be completely different because we still have some threads and some familiar scenes because we cannot leave the filming of Bridgerton House without landing on the high note that the swings are back up in the backyard of Ranger House. The swings.
I mean, we had to end on a happy note. We have to. Oh, I think there was a collective, like, sigh of relief, but also, like, just such happiness to see those swings back up. They're like hanging on what looks like a crane or like some sort of mechanism. Like they are not naturally there. Like they're added. It can only mean one thing. Having Benedict and Eloise on the swings again. It just another again. We definitely knew that that was gonna come, but to see it be in block four, like potentially in like a pivotal moment of realization, who knows? But I'm so happy to see it. I can't wait for those seats to be filled.
Yes, and that relationship between, well, between Luke and Claudia too is so significant, but between Benedict and Eloise is really maybe the single closest sibling relationship that we see. They're so devoted to each other and they understand each other and accept each other. And those scenes have been so pivotal so many times that it just makes sense that this has to happen. And it throws me when I think about it too, because I have gone back and forth like 7 times just this week on who I think then will be season 5, just because all of this is so messy and crazy. And I'm sitting there like, oh my gosh, but what if he passes the torch to her on the swings? Like, what if that's the conversation is him being like, handing off the lead? But then I'm also like, but if John dies, then it would be kind of like, maybe they have a year of her mourning, but maybe they don't. Like, that seems like a setup for a season. And I don't know. It's crazy.
I I know it's crazy, but also I just feel like what better way to hand off and to have that, like sneaky like Easter egg that she's season 5 than on the swings. Like that's the only like place that makes sense. It's like a safe space. And like maybe she reveals something like, "Oh, I've been writing to someone." Like I've always been that Eloise team Eloise season 5. So because I've always said I want more time with Michaela, more time with Francesca. So I don't know. I think that that's what it is. It would be perfect.
It does feel like that. Well, and the default is Eloise. Like Eloise is the assumed next step for season 5. So like anything else would be the departure. It would be the surprise. So it feels like it'd be great for it to be handed off to Eloise in that moment. Like, yeah.
So easy.
Yeah.
It's just exciting, to have these cues that, they're towards the end of filming, which means that they're gonna wrap soon, which means that we're getting to the next like phase of like the Bridgerton. It's exciting. And yeah, just seeing Wisteria and seeing mourning cloths and hail carriages and swings. It really feels like the end. So it'll be really cool to see how it all plays out on screen, but how lucky we are to like get to see these sneak peeks. So
So I also want to jump in and talk a little bit about the writer of Bridgerton because, well, A, I have a story, but also I have a theory. So we got to talk about Julia Quinn. So a crazy thing. I'll tell the story first, and then I'll tell the theory. So a crazy thing happened to me because I posted a picture of
we haven't talked about this yet. Even
we
oh my god, we never jumped on a recording. Okay,
yeah.
proceed.
So I posted a picture where someone had sent me before we got all of these leaks. Somebody went to Ranger House and they sent me pictures of the set all kind of locked down and everything, and there wasn't much to see. And so I made a joke about how it's easier to see the US war plans. That's timely and it's not going to age well. People aren't going to understand if they listen to this in 2 months. Anyway, I made a joke about how it's easier to see the US war plans than it is to see what they're filming for Bridgerton season 4. Kathy Maxwell, a romance novelist that I absolutely adore, love her books, she reposted to her page this post that I had. So I was fangirling the hell out of everything. I love Kathy Maxwell. Obviously, I'm a romance novelist myself, so that was insane. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm not going to survive this. This is amazing. And then, it was topped because guess who commented on this
I have no
saying
idea.
Yeah, I know. No clue. How would you? Saying it's true though with a little eye roll emoji. Julia Quinn agreed with my joke, found it funny enough to comment on, and is I lost it. I can't even.
I can't even for you. That was nuts. It was right after we recorded, and I had gone to bed. So, like, Cass and I were in two different time zones. Like, she's Pacific time, I am Eastern time. Like, there's a difference here. And I went to bed, and you messaged me saying, like, please tell me you're still awake. And oh, fuck, I wasn't. And the next morning, I saw that, and I was like, are you for real? And immediately I was like, let's jump on, like, let's record, and we didn't get a chance, but you were like on cloud nine, and I was just, I love to see that. It was such a cool moment, like a double whammy. You had a double whammy. That's amazing.
Yeah. Well, and it's obviously like so special to me as a writer. Like, Julia Quinn might be the biggest person to me attached to Bridgerton. Like, I love the actors. I love everybody. I love, Jess, the showrunner, and like, they're amazing. But those books got me, like, I read those, and after I devoured all 7 of them in 8 of them in 2 weeks, and I sat down and I said, I can write a romance novel. Like, they are the reason that I write romance novels. And so it's just so special to me and my writing journey, and Julia Quinn has meant so much to me, and it's just so great to have that interaction.
Oh my gosh, I love
Yeah.
this so much. That's so special. You deserve it. You've been,
Thank you.
in this world, immersed in it, and you've been writing, like, you've you embody a writer through and through, and your perspective on everything, romance novels, television, storytelling, you've got such a deep rooted understanding of, like, how to tell a story beautifully. And I'm just so happy to see you you know get on their radar. Like, that's so important, and I feel like it's just the beginning. You're gonna keep, you know, making waves in, like, that community, and this is gonna be another stepping stone. But yeah, you deserve it, and
Yeah.
I'm so happy for you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it so much. And that's one of my favorite things. Somebody asked us, like, what our favorite thing about starting the podcast was. And I'm like, that I get to spend this time with you and talk to you. And we, like, devote a couple hours a week to, like, really have this interaction and talk not only about, like, a show that we love and things that we love, but, like, support each other and connect. It's just been so nice because I feel like adult friendships don't have that, like, carved out time consistently very often because, like, we're so busy. And I mean, you have 3 small humans running around and all of these things, and it's just nice. It's nice to
It is
connect.
really nice. Yeah. And even, like, it's hard to, like, carve out that time, let alone, like, have that time specifically to, like, talk about things that you love. Like, oftentimes with friends, you can sometimes, like, start ranting about something, or, work is annoying, or, like, this is frustrating me, whatever. But this, like, time that we carve out is dedicated to the things that we love, and talking about the things that make us happy. And, like, it can pull either of us out of a bad mood so easily. And it's just such a blessing to be able to share that with other people too. And hopefully it makes everybody else feel like they're part of the gang. So
I love that. I could not love that more. Ah, so good. So, my random theory now about Julia Quinn.
oh yeah.
So, she is in the UK. She posted a few days ago that she landed. So, she's on the set. I'm calling it right now. And I think that we might get, like, when everything starts to be allowed to post, we're going to get pictures of her on the set right now. That's what I think.
I mean, why else? Why else would she be going to the UK if not to catch the last little bit of Bridgerton season 4 filming?
Yeah,
Hello.
exactly.
Has to. So, Another really exciting thing that's been happening for us has been just discovering the amazing new talents that we're learning from our very own footman John, Olly Higginson.
So we have been seeing Olly Higginson posting a lot about his time on Bridgerton and also transitioning into his music career through his new account, Modern Olly. And I think the one thing that made us all really shift our focus to that account was when we saw the cast of Bridgerton season 4, especially the newer ladies, Yaren Ha, Michelle Mao, and Isabella Way, attend one of his shows. And we got a really good inside look at the amazing talent that he has on stage, playing the piano, singing, performing his little heart out. And I think we all kind of we kind of all noticed that, this is something really special happening. So I think it was just really exciting to see, you know, somebody that we've known for years kind of branch out into a music career, because we all love to see an actor transition to music. It's just really nice. It just feels like the natural canon event. So I think it's been really cool to see that.
Yeah, the Bridgerton cast as a whole is just so multi-talented that I definitely wasn't surprised when all of a sudden Footman John comes out with this amazing ability and this incredible stage presence and clearly fantastic songwriting ability. But I think I was a little floored on just how amazing the music is and just how well it happens to fit the Bridgerverse, which was something I was not necessarily prepared for, and yet I really love.
And that's the thing, if you sit with the lyrics of his songs, it's just really, it's deep, it's raw, it's beautiful emotion, but as a Bridgerton fan, we can really associate certain songs and certain vibes to moments that we can't wait to see for Bridgerton. So I think it was only natural for us to see, the things that he was posting, the new songs he was posting, and kind of associated to potentially some moments that are coming up in Bridgerton season 4. So there was a moment where I thought, you know what, this song, Not Crying for Love, just kind of fit really perfectly into kind of the mindset of Sophie, where she's so strong about her stance on what she wants in life, in love, and she won't be broken down by heartbreak or by anything that's in her way. She's just going to keep carrying on. So I think that struck us really hard with that song. It seemed to match. It seemed to work, and why not include that in season 4? It just fits so perfectly.
Couldn't agree more. I mean, I think that Bridgerton is at its best when it's really showcasing the many talents of its cast, whether that is their dancing ability, their acting ability, obviously, but one we don't see very much. I mean, apart from Luke Newton singing a little bit in season 1, we don't really see that aspect. And hi, plug for a Bridgerton musical episode here. So still rooting for that. Yep, insert plug. But altogether, I think that Bridgerton would do very well to utilize the cast in that way, because I think there's something very authentic, very beautiful, and very powerful about someone who knows this story, loves this world, and is fully embroiled in it, producing something or using something that they have made to bring it into that world in this way. Because music is so emotional, it's so intimate, so private, and so beautiful, but it's also public and everybody can relate to it, which is such an interesting dichotomy where it's both of these things at once. And so that we have kind of gotten this view into Olly Higginson's mind, his heart, his soul, I feel like also gives us this great look into who Footman John is, because even though they're obviously like a character and they're different people, we would not have Footman John and we would not love Footman John nearly as much if it was played by anybody else. And so that we get this depth from Olly, I think gives so much to the character and so much to the world. So put his dang song in season 4. That's
Yeah.
the long and short of what I'm saying.
That's basically it. It's so easy. Just do it. But yeah, you're so right. Like there's just something about like knowing that his heart and soul is in this show that, it only feels natural to like extend that artistry even further than just like words in a script, right? In season 3 where Tori Kelly had an original song, I think that was really beautiful and a really great way to have something all encompassing the story that's being told on the screen. So I think that they should just keep running with that and use an original song or use a song that maybe hasn't been fully launched yet by somebody who is very much invested in the show. Like, I think it would just be really beautiful. And honestly, there's way more than just that one song that he has produced that would work. Like, you shared a reel too with a different song and that worked as well. Like, his music just has so much depth to it that it can really just be plugged in anywhere. And, his excitement at seeing like the recommendations and the idea of it being in Bridgerton, he was like, hey, that's a really good idea. Like, let's run with that. It just shows that obviously he knows a little bit more than we do about what's going on in Bridgerton season 4. So the fact that he's also seeing it too, I think there's a great opportunity here, and I don't see why they shouldn't take it.
Exactly. Agreed. So today, Sunday, April 6th, is Pollen Day. So Pollen Day is a thing that I feel like gets thrown around the internet a lot. And maybe not everybody knows what this is. So I don't know, Deb, do you want to share with the folks at home, what is Pollen Day?
So, Pollen Day is something that came to be because of the original story, Romancing Mr. Bridgerton by Julia Quinn. April 6th is actually the day that Colin and Penelope first met. And we just celebrate that as like the beginning of something so beautiful. That is why we celebrate it on April 6th. And Pollen Week, which precedes that date, is where we kind of celebrate them for a whole week because why not?
It's perfect. They deserve a whole week. It's fantastic. So Deb, you had a fabulous idea that we should bring and discuss our very favorite pollen scenes. So y'all, we're gonna do that and we're gonna dive in with some pollen content. You're so giddy, it's the best. Oh my gosh.
I love them so much. I love them so much. Okay, you go.
Okay. So my very favorite pollen scene is absolutely their wedding. I love their wedding. I love everything about their wedding. But the moment that absolutely sells it for me is the nod. When she's insecure and she's not sure like what is going on with their relationship and they've been so bumpy and they look at each other from one end of the aisle to the other and she just needs reassurance so much and he just gives her that little nod and she nods back and then we get Yellow playing and it could not be more perfect. It couldn't be more perfect. And just what I love about it so much, and I think why I love that nod so much, is because I feel like it really speaks to what is so special about a friends to lovers, is that they have loved each other for years before they were ever romantically involved. And so the reality is that a bump in the road, even if it's as big of a bump as Whistledown, is not going to throw them. And I feel like that's what that nod says, where Colin is like, he can be upset, he can be angry, he can need space, like we see them with later, but it doesn't change that he loves her. Like, he loves her, and that is the steadfast thing that is always under their feet, is this love for each other. And even when things are bumpy, even when they're bad, even when they mess up and they're messy, this love is still there for them. And that's what that nod at the wedding shows. And it's just, I feel like it's what makes Polin special as a couple. So I love it.
I love it too. I really love it so much. And my favorite part about the nod is that, of course, we have Yellow that's already playing. But the moment where he nods is when, in the real song by Coldplay, is when he says, I love you so, you know I love you so, and then there's the nod. So that matches up with the song so perfectly, and it gives me chills every time because it's so beautiful, and there's such an important thing to realize that Yellow was really what the fans wanted for them too. So not only were we getting this big beautiful wedding, getting Polin getting married, but we got the fan favorite song on top of it. I feel like it was so overwhelming to watch. And we're going into this after the Lady Whistledown fight, and then the fight outside the Modiste. There's just so much, there could easily have been this massive dramatic, this isn't happening, it wasn't any of that. It was just kind of he really listened to his sister-in-law the night before, saying, does that really change how you feel about her? And he's he just shakes his head. So the thing is that Luke Newton is so impeccable with his nonverbal acting. That simple nod, or even when he's talking to Kate, and all he does is a very slight shake of his head. He's just so great with the nonverbal, and the nod is just perfect. It's just amazing.
It is. I love it. So, well, that's my absolute favorite Polin scene. So, yeah. Deb, who is bursting at the seams to share this with us, what is your favorite Polin scene?
Oh my gosh. I'm so excited to share this because honestly, since the beginning of this week, everybody's been sharing their favorite Polin dance, their Polin kiss, what's their favorite moment. And I was like, you know what? Instead of going through all of these different mini moments to pick, I was like, I'm just at the end of the week, I'm just going to pick my favorite scene. And I've just been sitting with it all week trying to think, what is truly my favorite scene? And honestly, my favorite scene is just before the first kiss. Just before, where Penelope is just saying,
it would not have to mean anything, and I would never expect anything from you because of it, but I am nearly on the shelf, and I have never been kissed, and I am not certain I ever will be. I could die tomorrow.
You are not going to die tomorrow.
But I could, and it would kill me.
You would already be dead.
I do not wish to die without ever having been kissed.
It is Julia Quinn just regurgitated on the screen, and it's just it was so raw, it was so beautiful, and there's so much anticipation because we had seen the picture from afar of them getting closer, and we're like, oh, is this first kiss? What is this? Is this a dream? And it was just the first time that they ever kissed, and it was just so exciting, and I just love that it was so true to the book, and they both did it so beautifully. And then the going in for the first, but then again for the second, it was just told so beautifully. And how she says thank you and walks, and Luke Newton has always, prior to the season being out, he kept saying there's this one moment where things shift for Colin, and he kept referring to that moment where it changes, and he couldn't say anything, but to realize that was the moment, his look as she's walking away, it's my favorite. It's hands down my favorite.
I love that so much because that is such a pivotal scene, such a beautiful scene, and I think really such an empowering scene. I know that there was some discourse around it, when it came out, that, some people maybe didn't love the idea of Penelope asking to be kissed, because some people interpreted that as maybe a little desperate, and I felt like it was completely the opposite. I felt like it was her, saying that her life isn't over if she doesn't have a man, she has all of these many things in her life. However, like, there is nothing wrong with wanting romance. There is nothing wrong with wanting that feeling of being wanted and knowing what it's like to be kissed and to have this interaction. And so I thought that it was extremely empowering for her, where she says, I want this and I want it on my terms. And you're a person that I trust and I care about and who cares about me. And so, you know what? Let's do this thing. Like, this is an experience that I want to have. And that's badass. So I love everything about that choice. That's such a great pick.
Yeah, I love everything about it. And yeah, I will die on that hill. Like, there's nothing desperate about that moment because he is vulnerable too, right? He is very much like, oh, like, what? And he just does it. He does it for her because they're just best friends. Like, there's something so beautiful in that. And yeah, it's just romance. Like, that scene is just like romancing Mr. Bridgerton embodied. Like, that is just what it is to me. The moonlight, I love it.
So you're having this moment over here and I'm dying and I'm trying to hold it in because I'm remembering on one of our first episodes and you talked about how you liked when men are confused. And he's so confused in this moment. He kisses her and it's like his whole world is thrown off his axis and he gives such a puppy dog like confusion face after her as she's like, thank you, and walks away and he's like, he's like the meme of the lady trying to do math in her head. That's what Colin is in that moment.
What if I told you? At least I'm consistent. My boy
True.
was confused and chef's kiss. Non-verbal acting, okay? We loved it.
Exactly. Full circle. Beautiful. So we cannot leave Polin yet without diving into some of the questions that you guys want answered about our season 3 leads, particularly as they are headed into season 4. So the first one comes from Cupperty, sure. Do you think when Colin goes to cuddle Pen at the mirror in the trailer for season 4, have they just found out she's pregnant again? So I feel like this is a big question for us of, do we think Colin and Penelope are going to have another baby or be pregnant again this season? Thoughts?
For sure. For sure.
Okay.
In that moment, I don't know. We can dive into that, but my general like initial reaction is like, yeah, for sure. She's going to be pregnant in this season. And I really hope so too, because there's not enough, well, no, I was gonna say there's not enough of like the men like just swooning over their wife pregnant. There was a lot for Anthony with Kate, which I loved. So I want more of that. So I'm really hoping that she will be. And you know, there was an article today that Nicola Coughlan said that, you know, her hair's like Penelope's like whole vibe is softer this year, but like her hair's up a lot. Like, she's a mom, she's busy. And I'm like, oh, I think she's busy with like a lot more than just what we think. So I think so. What do you think?
Okay. I'm going to take the opposite. I'm going to say this is going to be one of the things. There's a podcast that I listen to that I really like where they take bets when like a new book comes out, that they bet each other things. And if the people get them wrong, they have to do like something ridiculous. So I think we should do that. I think this should be one of ours. Is like, is Pen going to be pregnant again? I think no. I think we're going to see her pregnant in the epilogue though. So I think for the bulk of the season we won't, because I think she's going to be boss lady. I think she's going to be working with the queen. And I think it's like, they're going to wait until their kid's like a year and a half, couple years old, whatever. My caveat to that is if there's a time jump in the middle of the season, which is possible, we could see that and we could see her jumping forward and she's pregnant in the second half. I don't know. But I think if it carries through timeline wise of just like starts and then goes, I think we'll see her pregnant in the epilogue. But yeah.
Okay. I don't mind that. But Do I think that they're pregnant at the beginning? She. I hate that. I hate that. When men say we're pregnant. Bro, no, you're not. I am. Oh, I hate that.
I
Touchy.
wonder if this is a have carried a baby thing because my mom also hates that and I don't care. I'm like, I don't know why, but I like understand why that would bug you, but like it doesn't bug me. But I
Oh,
think it's because I haven't carried a child.
well, no, it's because I'm suffering. Are
Yeah,
you?
exactly.
No, you're not. You did one thing, and it lasted 5 seconds. You're not pregnant. I am. No. No. Colin, never say that. Oh, God. Anyways, what was I saying?
So she's
Do I think that she is pregnant in front of the mirror? No, not yet. Will the mirror scene part 2 lead her to be? Perhaps.
I like
I
that.
think something's happening after he meets her in front of the mirror because that's just their track record. But
That's valid. I'm gonna say, like, I think that the mirror is gonna be all like build up for them, and it's gonna be all the masquerade, and they're gonna be like sneaky and cute the whole time, and be like kind of like a little flirty and a little bit like maybe a little scandalously close when they dance, and then they're gonna be like after the masquerade, they're gonna be like, boom, let's go.
he's
That's
just
what I
getting to
think.
know the dress before the end of the night. He's
Yeah.
getting ready.
Oh yeah, yeah, exactly.
And
He's practicing.
exactly. And recently I did a reel about like we need to talk more about how pirate pen is a thing and that like it needs to mean that pirate Colin is also going to be a thing in season 4. And then somebody, bless their heart, they just said maybe he won't even be at the masquerade. Maybe he's just like at home babysitting. And I was like, no. Respectfully, no. My dude is going to be at the masquerade ball. He's going to be Jack Sparrow. And also, if he was at home babysitting, he would just be parenting, not babysitting. Guys, don't get me started. You've already got me started.
A, I love it. Please rant about all of those things always. And B, agreed. Colin is at that masquerade. There's no way he's not at that masquerade. And also, there is a reason that we have not seen him at that masquerade. And it is because whatever he looks like is going to be a reveal. So, fully.
Do you remember a few weeks ago I sent you like a timestamp in like one of our episodes and I was like, you at this moment in the episode because it's literally what you just said. You were like, oh, I think that's gonna be like a reveal when we were talking about Colin and you literally just said the same thing. You're like, I feel like that's gonna be a reveal. You just did that.
Clearly I stand by it.
We're just proving that we are consistent with our feelings.
Yeah.
Oh my god, that's
Oh
so
my gosh.
funny.
Well, talking about Colin Bridgerton is a perfect lead-in into our next question that is from Peta Charnock. And they asked, will we get to see more Colin in season 4? I can guarantee yes. But I feel like my little tangent with this is what do we think we're going to see from Colin in season 4?
That's a good question. Because it's so easy to say yes, of course. But yeah, what is his arc going to be? Hopefully he's just exploring more of his writing. And yeah, I just hope that he develops that whole side of his personality, like writing more and more books about his travels. I feel like he's gonna be dad mode like activated. I really hope that for him. While like mom's off working, he's just like in the nursery on drugs this time, just having fun.
Fair.
And yeah, I can't wait to make that like contrast reel. That'll be great. Like I feel like he's working on his stuff, but also like being like more less uptight. Like there's a lot going on last season where he was like stressed, trying to figure himself out. Like I feel like he's just gonna be like fun dad.
Yeah, I love that. I feel like I don't know if this answers this question specifically, but I feel like I need a scene where like Penelope is helping him edit his manuscript like in bed, where they're like talking and discussing and doing notes and things, because like I need that. And I think it's great that he was like very independent about it, but I need him. That was a thing that I wish had been in season 3, was that we had seen Colin give Penelope his writing and that she had seen it and talked to him about it. Like that was a piece of vulnerability for him that I wanted in like episode 3. So I still feel that like that needs to be addressed. That needs to be shown on screen, like very explicitly, that he has that vulnerability to crop up in season 4, just to show that growth for them as a couple and just how on the same wavelength they are, because that they have this writer thing in common is so beautiful. So I really hope they explore that in season 4.
Yeah, and I would love to see the reverse too, where he's like looking over like a whistle down. They're just exchanging notes, like they're each other's editor, and I think that would be super sweet. And I just love how you add in bed. Sure, makes sense. Makes sense. And like then you have the kid like coming in and wrecking shit. Like that's just like the mood board for Polin. I think they're working hard, they're having fun, but then the kid, he's always there. I just always need the kid to be like a buzzkill. But like in the sweetest way possible.
So our final Polin-themed fan question is from @MegHughesXO, and they asked, favorite Polin fan theory for season 4 you have seen or any of your own. So what are some crazy fan theories we got going on here?
I think my favorite theory for Polin in season 4, and we've talked about this before, is just the whole Lady Featherington not wanting to leave the house. I think that that's my favorite and probably very possible. I'm obsessed with the fact that like one of our first like looks of Polin was just Lady Featherington like pinching Colin's cheeks, and then he's like, get out of here. And you see like Penelope's old bedroom's redecorated, so it really seems like they're trying to like take the house from her. And I love that theory that it's just gonna like be some comedic like chaos between them trying to get her out. I love that theory for them.
That's so good, and it's going to be so fun. And I feel like it combines well with the whole, like, they're trying to get some time for some, like, alone time, while a mother-in-law and a baby is trying to pull their attention. So that'll be fun for them.
Bless their hearts. They're in for a ride.
I love that. I think my favorite fan theory is one that we got as kind of a spoiler from a source that told us, and it seems kind of confirmed by what we've been hearing from like Jess and everybody, that Penelope is going to be working with the Queen. And I'm super excited for that. It feels like the natural next step for these two people who have been kind of enemies but are running kind of parallel existence this whole time, and clearly have so much interest and respect for each other. So I love that for them working together. And I am convinced that they are going to do some kind of good to be able to bring Sophie into the Ton and change the Ton's ideas about class. And I think we're going to have a bloodless revolution here where nobody has to be guillotined, but they're going to use the pen is mightier than the sword, and they're going to help people get over the class differences thing. So I think that's my big theory for Penelope.
I love that. I'm like, the only thought that I have right now is like, imagine the Queen in the jail. Or like Penelope in the jail. Like, I don't know how we got here, but yeah, we're just going to write about this later.
I love that.
I can see her like sticking her nose in there. But yeah, that's a really good theory. And I really hope it does happen because like, again, that's where we left off in season 3, how like she'll use her pen more responsibly, and the Queen loves some gossip. So there's got to be some like intertwining stories there. So yeah, that's a good theory. yeah, that kind of wraps up our little fan question section for the podcast. We got lots more fan questions in the bank, and we will be reopening the box at the first of every month so that we can kind of sprinkle in some questions along the way. I know it's going to get even more detailed as time goes by, and we can't wait to dive into all of your burning questions. Be sure to be following us on Instagram, rationalromantics.pod, and we're doing some voting too on the best songs for our 80s music episode. So there's lots of fun happening on the page, so be sure to follow.